right? So people call me all the time and say, is such and such a good school? You know, if you know it, it's probably a good school. The question is not, is it a good school? The question is it good for you? Is it the learning environment you want? Is it the social environment, the academic, the emotional environment that you want and in which you will succeed? That's my job, is to help students get from point A to point B. And sometimes point B is a school you've never heard of, but when we get to that argument, I actually did a presentation for parents last night, and one of the parents said, how do I get my child to look beyond the ranking and the reputation? So what I always use is Harvard Law School publishes a list every year of the undergraduate universities and colleges from which their first year law students graduated. And when you pull up that list, there's like 300 students in the class, and there's about 180 colleges on that list. So they have nice diversity, and there are colleges on that list where either you know them and you say, oh my God, you can go to Boise State University and then go to Harvard Law School. You have to succeed at Boise State University. But there's also a whole bunch of colleges on that list that even I've never heard of some of them. And when I show that list to parents, they're like, I've never heard of Excelsior College. I've never heard of Denison University. But you know what? It doesn't matter that you haven't heard of it. What matters is that Harvard Law School has, right? Same thing. I was looking at, with a student at the biology department at University of Denver, which is not highly ranked and it is not hard to get into. But we were looking at the faculty, and one of the faculty members had her undergraduate from Western Washington University, which I happen to love Western Washington University, but she had her PhD from Cornell, and which is Ivy. So, you know, again, most parents that I work with, you know, if you think you're headed for a highly, highly selective college, you are going to look at Western Washington and go, oh, it's a safety, I don't want to go there. But the question is, what do you do when you get there? What impact do you have on the campus, on your classmates, on your professors? Because that is what will determine your next step. And your next step after a school that you may not have heard of before you started your admission process, your next step could be that highly ranked school that you desperately want so badly. All of that to say, I still don't want parents to, you know, judge and criticize their own parenting by the result that their children get. To me, if the student ends up in a place where he or she is happy and successful, you have been a successful parent.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough sort of mental shift to make. Because I've talked, you know, a lot of our clients, I talk to the parents on a daily basis, and, you know, they admit that in the social circles, yep, this is the conversation of, hey, yep, where did your child get into? Yep. And it's their own sort of ranking game. And so I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if you have any thoughts on how do you change that mental attitude of, let's just not even have that conversation. It's how's your child's mental health and wellness?
Right. I mean, is it possible that the conversation will shift to that? I mean, I feel like the ideal answer to that question is, my child is really, really happy at Lewis and Clark.
Yep.
My child is really, really thriving at Southwestern University.